Hello, everyone. How you doing? You're very welcome to this week's Castlerea Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast with myself, Aidan Raftery, and of course, as always, we have Thomas Callaghan, the coach at Castlerea Cavaliers. Hello, Thomas. How are you? Are you well?
I'm good, Aidan. Thanks for having me back for another episode.
No problem. It's always great to have you back, and there's always plenty to talk about. And I suppose, as we do every week, we'll kick off with the under 18s. It used to be under 16s, now the under 18s. I got that right this time. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, you were saying that they don't have they had nothing on last weekend. It's hard to kind of get matches at this time of year. But they probably they're kept busy, I suppose, with colleges basketball, the lads and the girls, I suppose, for both the men's, the boys and the girls in colleges.
yeah, definitely. So, yeah, the boy, like you said, it's hard to get, and not just for us, for the other clubs as well to get the fixtures done. Just with there's a lot of commitments among players. A lot of players involved in the kind of league as a whole. I suppose they're involved with soccer development panels or county football development panels and things like that. So, but then it's a small league. There's only a handful of teams in it. So again, there's room and time to get fixtures done. The next outing for the boys, that group of lads we have an under 19 schools game for the community school on Monday. We're travelling to St. Muirduct in Ballina, and it's a regional semi-final. And we're hoping just to give it. We have a free crack at it. I always say, like, our under 19 team, at least its core players are very young, TYs really. So we have a free crack because they have 2 more years to go at it again with the school. So, and I know St. Murdoch's will be big, strong. We expect a lot of them to be 6 years and have those years of conditioning and growing that'll stand against us. But now, like I said, we can give ourselves every chance. The longer we stay in the game, um, and the longer we hang around in touching distance, we might steal it. Um, but we are bracing ourselves for what's going to be a tough contest. And but I'd back the boys. You never know if a few shots, a few 3-pointers fall, and you stay in touch. You never know what might happen. And the boys are cherishing it. They love the challenge, they love competition, and they love competing, and they'll have no fear against what we expect will be the bigger men. But they'll have no fear, and they'll cherish the opportunity to go up against a very strong side. So yeah, that's the what's next, at least planned for the under 18s. And hopefully in the next few weeks before Christmas, we can get one or two of the club games squeezed in. So hopefully we'll have a win against Ballina under our belts, and hopefully we'll have some club games to talk about in the next episode.
And I suppose really you were saying there about St. Muirdex of Ballina, that the strengths that they have, but also, to be fair, like you're backing your own lads there from Castlerea Community College, and of course Castlerea Cavaliers. So your lads can bring a lot to the table as well, and of course I know it's kind of a level higher than what they were playing last year, but playing getting to an All Ireland final, a national final stands for a lot, because a final like that, there's a lot of pressure for the lads. And even though they lost last year, they didn't let themselves down, they didn't let their schools or their families down. They played quite well, and I think that's kind of a positive that they can bring into this season. And that as a result, that brings belief to the fore as well. And that's something they'll definitely be able to use against Murdoch's as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'll back the lads, to the end, especially we have great scoring from Jamie Dowd and Joseph Botton. We're constantly getting better. We had the boys down training with the senior Cavs team there this week on Tuesday night, and they were not out of place at all. In fact, they were in some of the games we played, they were probably the more proficient players, So they're right where they need to be. And also we have a tremendous point guard there, great, massive talent, Kevin Hester. And the way he's able to protect the ball and manage the ball and get around players, and not only protect the ball but also initiate offense and create opportunities, and get us to the basket. It's a very, very it's a very fortunate tool that we can have somebody like that who we can just trust. If they go full court pressure, if we get the ball in Kevin's hands, he can beat a 5-man press by himself nearly with his ball handling ability. So we have great balance. It's just a shame some of our older players on the under-19 team, they haven't played as much in the last few years. I think COVID came at a bad time for their development. Conan Murphy is a guy who's maybe was unlucky with that, but he came in the last day against Carrick and he had some inspirational plays, pulled down rebounds, got 4 points off the bench, and he was thrilled with himself. And the boys were thrilled for him to see somebody who maybe hasn't got the opportunities, but he's starting to prove himself now. So yeah, and I look at the school, it's like I said, we've a free crack at it. It's not a disaster if we go out at this stage, but it is a successful year in that lads who maybe haven't got the opportunity the last few seasons have got the chance to get basketball minutes now. I mentioned the likes of Joe Dare, Keane McLaughlin, guys who maybe missed the under-16 window last year, who are getting the feel for basketball now again this year and have been really impressive.
And of course, I suppose between the club and the college as well, the other thing is, you have some great players there as well, but also with that, I suppose it kind of ties in but you can't have one without the other. You can't have yin without yang, and that's kind of, you can have the players, but you also need the coaching. And I mean, there's yourself who's the coach. I suppose you're coaching a few different teams, both with the club and the college as well. But there are other coaches as well that are helping out. I suppose Joseph Henry was to the fore there in that sense. I suppose with the club and with the colleges last year, and part of that. Part of the reason to get to the All Ireland last year in the college as well. And those two marry well together, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Joe, the both Joes. Joe Senior has been obviously great historically with the school, and we're hoping to really drive it on with the club now and get more underage teams, and hopefully get his feel for success and winning in around more of the club teams over the next few years. And obviously he's excellent with the boys. They're very engaged by him. They know he has the knowledge and experience to get them over the line in the seasons and competitions that they will go far in the next few years and into their adult basketball. We've actually started underage as well, youth development. This week we started under 9s and under 12s, just sessions. We're not going to enter any teams this year now, but massive interest. And I had a few of the boys down, a few TYs that are into basketball down helping as well. So it's great to get them into coaching
just on
at that age.
That, Thomas, if there's any kids that do want to get involved, do you want to give out your the number to ring if someone wants to, if there's any kids or that out there that are interested in getting involved and developing basketball skills, or even someone that maybe has never played and kind of wants to start off from scratch and kind of learn and develop the skills. And I suppose that's another key skill of the game too, is how reading the game and being in the right place at the right time, and obviously the physical skills as well. But do you want to give out the number there if anyone wants to get involved?
Yeah, look, I know our Wednesday night session now is booked out, but there's space in our Tuesday night sessions. It's 6 to 7 p.m. in the hub. We're doing there's 4 weeks left now, this kind of term up to Christmas, but we'll be doing it again after Christmas. The best way to get in contact, I'd say, is the social media. So to private message us on Facebook or Instagram. That's probably the best way to get a response, keeping an eye on that. So if you do have a child, the Tuesday night session is 7 to 12-year-olds. So we've about half that half the spots left in that group. So it's just private message Castlerea Cavaliers on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll get back to you as soon as we see it, because we'd love to that.
And that can, of course, in the years to come, that'll be playing a huge part in the development of the club and having the players coming through as well, which is great. Not just for the college, not just for the club, as I say, but also the college as well, when they when they get into Castlerea Community College as well. But yeah, sorry, I could have crossed you there when you were saying about the training sessions as well that you were bringing through.
Yeah, and we have some of the boys, I was saying the under 18 lads come down, and some of the girls who played under 16 and under 19 for their school this year are coming down helping coach. And, it's great for them. I always found it was great for me and my basketball development to, coach those younger than you because you get it refreshed, you get the fundamentals refreshed, and you hear different ways of how things are taught. And, it makes you a better player as well as the coach. So it's great to have the TYs involved, and it's great to have the youth basketball back up and running in Castlerea.
That's it. And I suppose that brings us on to the ladies as well. And, we were saying about how, the last maybe couple of games that they've been quite unlucky. How have they been getting on over the last couple of weeks? And have they a match coming up this weekend?
Since I talked to you last, we had a game away in Longford against Drumlish, and we won handy enough. It was a great performance, and I'll say for the girls, like with the effort they've put in so far this year in this first kind of phase in the season, the numbers we've had of training and the commitment to getting numbers to games as well, and just the effort that goes in as well when you get there. It's not about showing up; it's about showing up, being ready to work hard, and give yourself and get something out of every time you're playing basketball. They've been brilliant. So based on all that, they deserved a win, and we got one. We won 59-37, which was, it was a reflection of, we believed, if we worked as hard, like we always know Drumlish are going to come out firing and working hard and trying to put a marker down early. But I found, last year we got caught on the hop down there and we lost by 2 points. So this year I was like, look, if we just come out, if we come down here, not ready just to show up, to work hard and work harder than them, we will come out with the win because, on the balance of it, we have just better basketball players generally. So, and that's what happened. The first quarter was tit for tat. Our fairly good scoring rate after about 5 or 6 minutes. But then, Sandra Payne had a bit between the teeth out of the gate, and this on the road. So she had a fantastic first quarter. She had 13 points. And by the end of the first quarter, we were up 21-11 on the back of Sandra scoring. So she was terrific. And then Drumlish, Mark Canty from Longford is coaching them this year. They had just, had to come count Sandra getting open on the 3-point line. And then once that happened, we were able to go inside, and Sarah Tyrrell and Maria McCarthy kind of took over in terms of the scoring because the way the game changed, we identified them as now they against man. And I think Sarah Tyrrell is 15 and Maria finished with 30. So for me, to get that balance of we had 30 points from our post players and 29 points then from our guards, our outside players. And that's the balance I've been really trying to achieve with this team, not just relying on one source of scoring. So it's really satisfying for me and really satisfying for them. You've seen girls getting a feel for, the timing of the pass and when was the right time to score themselves or give the extra pass. And a lot of things were really clicking very well for us. Rebecca Cade was running the point guard, and it was one of them where all she had to do was be the point guard, and facilitate. She finished with 8 points. She picked her moments when to score and when to shoot very well. But with Rebecca, it's about building the IQ and knowing when it's time to give the ball to the scorers, or if the scoring opportunity opens up for her, when to go for it. So I was very happy with Rebecca, the way she managed the game. Great minutes as well for Kerry Harkin. Scoring wise, hasn't really just got going this year, but you're never short of effort with Kerry. I've been, preaching to her to back herself off the dribble and go around players and attack players. And late in the game in this one, she drove right to the middle of the paint, and Kerry has this gorgeous high floating jump shot, and she was able to get off a really high arcing jump shot, and it dropped in for a swish. And it was so satisfying just for those little things that you're trying to get players to try in games. and the opportunity doesn't always isn't always there, but it opened up for Kerry and dropped in this gorgeous floater. So I was very happy with that, and she deserved 2 points for the effort she was putting in all game and all the previous game as well when she was excellent. Rachel Mulligan has kind of dropped to the bench for this year because we have those two kind of orthodox post players. But when she comes in to give them relief minutes, she's excellent. The intensity doesn't drop, the physicality doesn't drop. She'll dive for any ball out over the sideline, on the floor. She'll dive on it. And again, she got to the free throw line for free throws in this one. I missed the first one, but the second one, I just told her, remember what we worked on with the shooting. And she got a lovely form under it and swished it as well. And she was threw a big smile over to the bench. So just a lot of satisfying stuff going on in this one. And, like that, once we got out into the lead, it kind of stayed at 14, 15 points. And then kind of late in the game, we pulled away. Danica Lavin gave Rebecca good relief minutes, and she got 2 points. She had a lovely, typical mid-range jump shot towards the end, and it was good to have her back, just a steady set of hands and somebody who can manage the game as well. Kelly Coleman, Alana Hanmore, Megan Keaveney kind of shared minutes in that wing spot. They play a very similar position, but all played very well. Bring different things to the position. I think Kelly is growing in her decision making. She's becoming a reliable option on offense to get her the ball, and she'll make the right decision to shoot or to pass or to drive. Same with Megan. Megan's always a reliable jump shot, but more importantly, always a reliable worker on defense and great undersized, but great at boxing out and maybe winning rebounds when she has no right to. And then Alana Hanmore, to have her back in the team is great. She's a fantastic athlete, and you can see it when she gets the ball. She's a great threat on the fast break. She's fast and strong and athletic. So all bring different things, those three girls, but all very useful and all add something when they come in for their minutes off the bench. Yeah, so very happy with the win. Deserved win. We were after two losses against the stronger teams, and a lot of good training sessions put in. It was great to get our first win of the season in that one.
That's it, and I suppose just from your point of view, I suppose there was a couple of 1 or 2 games there where I suppose things didn't go your way, but I suppose if you look back at last year, there was some of the girls were maybe very young, but they have a season, they have an extra season under their belt. They have that bit of a season of experience under their belt now as well. And I suppose they kind of learn from the games that didn't go their way, but also the new girls that came in, the new additions to the squad as well. They're kind of getting used to the style of play as well. So I suppose that all kind of culminated in this win.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, a lot of things clicked, and especially I was like something that was very important. I thought was for Maria McCarthy, our new addition, to get a decent score tally. She had 13 inside. She's a threat on offensive rebounds and just gives us that, really complementary post player. We always only seem to have one available, and to have two consistently available post players now this year with Sarah and herself is something that really allows us to play a balanced style of basketball. And then just the other girls reacting to that and making the right decisions and passes based on that personnel that we have really clicked in this one. And hopefully we can keep that and make that a staple of our game for the rest of the season. Rebecca, like, it's funny, I look at Rebecca as maybe the youngest on the team. But then it's like people I look as leaders on the team. I mentioned Sandra and Rachel and Kerry. They're all still very young as well, 21, 22. So, the whole team really, or the bulk of the team, is very much still in that kind of learning curve and becoming the basketball players. Still like striving to meet their potential. So and it's great for them, have that leadership and have that responsibility, even if they are only, 20, 21, 22, and it'll make them it surely stand to them in the next few years when they continue to grow and you know
Yeah, and I suppose really another thing too as well is it was great to get that win, and I suppose both for the players and yourself as the coach, it's about building on that win with another win, and building on the other win, and I suppose getting that win and habit going again, and kind of getting into the top four, or getting in, qualifying for a knockout tournament, a knockout cup thing or that. And that's kind of the key, but I suppose it's still, I suppose, as things are, it's still very early in the season, and there's still plenty of time to kind of grow on, game on game. And of course, look, like they always say, there's always a tougher team around the corner, and it's about being prepared for those teams when they come. But it's about having that belief, and having the points on the board, and that on the league table, and doing well in the league, and then that can help hugely then when you do come up against those better teams.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just you mentioned belief there. I think belief in the way we play and trusting each other, trusting trusting that when you throw it into those post players, it will come back out to you on the outside. And same on the post players, trusting that, okay, I'm at the basket here, but I have three defenders drawn. So I'm going to trust the style of play, and I'm going to trust my teammate. I'm going to kick it out because we've created space on the outside. In terms of the wins, this season our goals haven't really revolved around the games and winning games. Now that's important, but I think we've more focused on getting consistent numbers and being able to build this style of play, and and then good things will come from that, rather than having the success of the season all hitch on, whether we win this game or beat this crowd, or get to a top four or win a shield. It's we don't want to like place look back at the season and say if it was success or a failure based on that. We're looking at just having consistent numbers, taking it a week at a time.
The things
And
right.
so far, yeah, so far it's been very enjoyable. I've seen a lot of progress from individuals and as a group. And the natural thing to fall would be wins in the next few games. But if that doesn't happen, I think our value is in each other and being there the next week and just bouncing back from bad results, or like you said, where we are now, trying to build on good results. Our next one now is Sligo away. It's on Monday night, I think, 1st of December. I could be wrong there, but Sligo away. Sligo are always tough. It's an awkward road trip. You have to try and get girls, like college girls are going to sacrifice and go on a big road trip to try and get to it. And hopefully we can get good numbers. And like I said, show up to work hard, not just show up and tick the box of being there, but show up to work and try and get the win on the board. So hopefully we'll carry the momentum from the Drumlish win into that one.
So I suppose, like you were saying, that the next game is kind of the beginning of December, so that leaves, I suppose, what, 2 or 3 weeks maybe between now and then. So I suppose that gives you a chance to maybe work on things. Maybe, I don't know, like, will you be having like a friendly, or are there just certain areas that you maybe want to fine tune before that, or how are you going to use that time?
Yeah, definitely. I think this Drumlish win gave us a glimpse of how, the balanced style of play, getting it in, getting it out, can work. You know, um, so I think just building on that and, hammering home the kind of principles of that style of play, passing it in and then relocating to get open, or just the post moves, the individual side of that, being able to catch and shoot, being able to post somebody up and finish if you're playing inside, swinging the ball fast. So yeah, just hammering home, um, the principles of play that we've seen now in this last win that work. So the girls will have encouragement from that and will want to build on it. So that's what we'll work on for the next few weeks.
Yeah, because the reason I was kind of saying that is sometimes when there's too many weeks between one game and another, it is kind of, and even though the girls are great and they're very enthusiastic, there's only a certain long length of time that the players will say, right, training before the start, itching, and kind of need to keep motivated or do something to motivate themselves. So it's how you use that time. So that's key, and it seems very, very interesting the way you're working on that, because sometimes players just want to, they'll do a certain amount of training, and then they're itching to kind of get back into competitive action and have a game.
Mm.
But I think you have the balance right there in how you're using that time.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not really healthy to um, put everything on how you get on in a game, because it's not a lot, it's not a kind of hectic season. There's 10 games, I think. I think they're on about a cup competition, but it wouldn't be healthy, it wouldn't be economical, I suppose, from a mindset point of view, to say, oh well, Joe, we're going to be upset now for the next 3 weeks if we don't win this game, because that could be the gap between the games. So yeah, like I said, our value, and I think the girls have really bought into it as well. There hasn't been any drop off yet in terms of the gaps between the games. Every training we've had good numbers, and girls look forward to come down. I've gotten good feedback off them. That's very positive. So yeah, we'll drive it on, and we'll take it one training at a time. And I think that short term kind of focus is the healthy way to go about it, and it's given us rewards so far this year.
That's it, and that brings us on to the men's senior team. Obviously, the boys are preparing for the season ahead, pre-season training. How has that been going? I suppose, has there been any additions to the squad? Any players left the squad and been replaced by others? How is that kind of dynamic going, and how are preparations going for the season? And I suppose, really, when you think about it, we were talking there only a couple of weeks ago, I think, was our first chat, and we were kind of, it seemed that the senior season seems so far away, like, but you wouldn't find it now that the weeks are tipping on now, and you wouldn't find it till the start of the men's season.
Yeah, look, we actually got our first game in there last weekend, and like you said, it did sneak up fairly quick, because a lot of the squad, four of us are involved with this Castlerea intermediate football. So, and with me as the coach as well, it's been kind of helter skelter trying to prepare for the season for the basketball, and fulfill my commitments for that. But the boys have been great. Maybe the lads who aren't involved in football, they've been patient. They've been great. They've adjusted and allowed for time for us to at least get the county championship over. Um, but yeah, we played our first game there. Excuse me. Last weekend we hosted Ballina. Ballina Merrymount. They're back to their old name now, which is great, I think. Because they have a team. They've actually entered a team into this new National Development League, which is like a tier below, let's say, Division One and Super League. So that's great for them. So the team that came down to us was very young. They had a lot of promising young players, and they were very good. They were led by Ronan O'Malley, who's a very experienced, very strong player in the high post, and he was able to will them on, and they bet us by 4 points in the end, which was a shame for us, but I think it was great to get back down and into a competitive, exciting game. I think everybody that was there, all the spectators, really enjoyed it. We were in the lead by 7, 8 points kind of the whole way up. And then we just had a bad roll in the fourth quarter where we didn't score for a few possessions in a row. Ballina saw their chance and they took it and they stole it in the end by 4 points, which is a testament to them. They stuck at it, stuck with it, and we left the door open and they took their chance. So it was a shame. Difficult to, especially when you see a lot of their senior players weren't playing, they were playing up. Um, they're playing up on that higher squad now, but so it's disappointing in that sense. But then when you see the talent they have, they had two fine shooters on the wing, young lads, happy to drive to the basket and use their agility inside. Roland O'Malley was so difficult to deal with in the high post when the score isn't on, he'll just make the right decision, pick a simple pass. Um, like if two of us went to him, he'd just pick the simple pass and they'd get a layup. And maybe like it might be one of their weaker players, but they'd have to do is make the layup because he'd put it on the plate for them. So it was a shame in that sense. Now there was positives. I think 76 points is a big score for us to put up. Usually we're around 60, 65. And we let our defense do the work. And this one, it was the opposite. Maybe our defense flagged a bit towards the end of the game. and we were easy to score against. But offensively, I thought we were good. Our new player, Adam Gavigan, was really promising. He had 15 points, a mixture of getting to the basket. He's very athletic and long, and he's able to get right up there at the rim, and he's also able to shoot. So I was very happy with Adam's debut. I had a good game myself. I got going from three early on. I finished with 33 points. I was able to get to the basket a few times. I think I had a few lucky ones fall in around a few players, and just my shots were falling from outside. So I got up a fairly big tally in the end. But it's amazing the difference when a few 3-pointers fall and when they don't, how it can look on the score sheet. Joseph Henry as well he had 13 points. Solid. Joe, you'll get scored from Joseph inside and out. I'm trying to get him back into the point guard spot this year. But he did go into the post for most of his scores in this one. And then other lads chipped in here and there. I think what let us down maybe in this one from a coaching point of view for me was we were leggy in the fourth quarter. Our defensive rotations were slow and maybe our minds were tired as well. So maybe just a bit of didn't fully use the bench maybe to the full potential in the early minutes so that maybe that strong five could finish the game strong, you know. I think that's something that I'll probably have to get better at. It's just giving lads more time on the bench during the game. So then when they're in the fourth quarter, when we need to be fresh, that we are. You know, Darrell Lowry had a great first quarter. Danny Darcy gave us minutes. Tati Kersoulis gave us minutes. Michael Henry as well. They all play a similar position to like me and Sean McDermott, Joseph Henry as well. But I think just to leave them on the court longer and maybe trust them a bit more because they're all solid players, all can hit a shot. Tati got a steal and went full length of the court for a layup. So I think it's not a case of giving them their chance because I'm very aware that they're very capable. It's just being more aware of, you know, maybe leaving them on longer than maybe their 3-4 minute spell, maybe give them a second spell and trust them. And just so we have, you know, fresher legs then when we do need to be that bit stronger on defense in the fourth. So yeah, it was a good start offensively, but things to work on defense.
And I suppose, have you a game coming up this weekend?
Yeah, we have. No, our next game is Tuesday. We're on Tuesday night against Sligo at home. We have to play them in midweek because they have their Super League team in action at the weekend at home. So we'll play Sligo Tuesday night in the hub. I think it's an 8 o'clock tip-off. So that's our next one. Very winnable game. And hopefully, you know, after last season falling 0-for-7 to start the season, hopefully we can get a win on the board earlier. We're all very wary of the start we had last season. So we're going to drive it on now. And if we play like we did on offense again in Tuesday's game, I'm sure we'll come out with the win.
That's it. And of course, moving on now to another very important matter. No rest for the wicked, I suppose. The small matter of venturing into Connacht for yourself and Castlerea St. Kevin's. You know, the Eastkey are they obviously the Sligo champions. How has preparations been going for that? Have you had any friendlies and things like that? And like any injuries going into this game?
No, I think as far as I know, we're all good. We've kind of got back on the horse. It's been a very enjoyable few weeks, and I think boys are looking forward to just getting back at the football. You know, the celebration is great, but you know the reason we do it and the reason we're so committed is because it's there's nothing like being out on the pitch and competing. So I think lads are just relishing the chance to keep it going and being back on the pitch with the team and doing what it's great to go out and celebrate together. And but I think training together and more importantly representing us on game day is something that the lads value more so. We've been tipping over, nothing, we haven't played any friendlies, just ticking over, getting the feel back and getting the touch back, and we'll go into it and we'll enjoy it and we'll give it the best crack we can.
And I suppose, looking back at the county final, were there any things maybe you felt like you needed to work on in the Eastkey game? I suppose, look, they were Ira were a different type of a challenge. Obviously there was like we said, Conor Cox, and I know like Eastkey won't be easy as well. But are there any things you feel you needed to get right for the Eastkey game? And because I know, like, usually, you need to know about the opposition, but sometimes it's kind of more about yourselves and kind of getting your own things right, and because you don't want to be taking your eye off the ball and watching too much about the opposition. You're kind of concentrating on yourselves.
Yeah, I think excuse me. Yeah, well, like that's nearly the beauty of going off into Connacht is you don't really know much about the opposition and you focus on yourselves more. You kind of bring it back to base. I think for us, it's just getting the mentality right, and we've seen the Leitrim champion lost. I can't remember names, so it's changed, but they were happy enough at halftime. They were winning by 2 points, and then they went out and got bet out the gate. So, but they were happy. They were happy with their county championship, and they kind of settled, I think. So, I think our mentality was just getting it right and focusing on ourselves, like you said, go out and want to win, and don't be just happy with your county championship. Go on and drive it on. The chances to play in a kind of competition don't come around too often, So, and again, just to enjoy an extra chance to play, be around your teammates, and play with each other and to win with each other, because it's a long season, but then you find when it's going well and when you're enjoying each other and when you're winning, you don't want it to the end. So I think ours is just getting the mentality right, focusing on ourselves, getting back on the horse. We had the week off and the first training back was a bit of crack, not too hectic, but then just building back up to that kind of match day mentality and intensity. And I think we've done that well, and we've done all we can do. And we're just set now rightly for this semi-final on Saturday.
That's it, and it's great to see it. And yeah, I suppose that brings us on to, I suppose just before we finish, you want to say a thank you to your sponsors, I suppose, both for the footballers and for the basketball club as well.
Yeah. Again, there's been massive support for the football the last few weeks. Obviously, people wanting to get behind us, and the community coming out and supporting us. So thank you to everybody, businesses and supporters, for their well wishes and their support. From the basketball, just McGorty's Bar on Main Street, Quispy's Discount Store, Amigo International out in Ballina, Mulligan's Menswear, and Benny's Deli. And then our clothing kind of sponsors, Callaghan Super Value, Bastion Kitchen, Harmac Medical, and Mike Callaghan Construction. So thank you all for your support.
And just another word, I suppose, Mr. Shawnee McDermott at Western Gales, man. What have his thoughts been on your progress and how you've been doing? And I suppose he was wishing you all the best for the county final as well. And what were his thoughts, or have you been talking to him about what he thinks about the match against Eastleigh as well? No.
Yeah, Sean. Sean's always great. I find personally for me, talk to him about football, and I'm really glad he came on board with us. When he did with the basketball, because like I play cornerback, like so, very similar position to what he'd be at for most of his football career, and he's just a great man for advice and a great man for just he mightn't mean it, but just something the way he'll say or the way he'll approach something will give you a lesson in mentality and that. So haven't really talked to him specifically about Iski but just knowing that he's behind you and somebody with that kind of experience and football knowledge, to have somebody like that behind you and giving you advice and pointers and things, it's a great resource for me in terms of like just at the football side of it, So yeah, he's behind us, and he loves to see, he obviously knows the basketball lads. Knows a lot of people around Castlerea, so he's Western Gales, but I think he's right behind us for this. So we always appreciate his sharing his knowledge and his support.
That's it. Well, listen, thanks very much for taking the time out to do Castlerea Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast, and we wish you the very best of luck for Sunday in Markievicz Park. And we look forward to talking to you about both next week.
That's great. Thanks a million. We'll chat to you next week.
No problem. Thanks very much for your time. And that was Thomas Callaghan, the coach of from Castlerea Cavaliers, and myself talking about all things basketball.